7-3.
They're lifting Vaughn up there on that stretcher.
Good evening, everybody. This is Bob Cole along with Bill Clement. And here are the officials tonight. John McCauley is the referee, Neil Armstrong, and Claude Béchard, the linesman. Bill Clement, Game 5, Philadelphia with their backs to the wall. What's going to happen as we look at Bernie Parent down there?
They're obviously going to be giving it everything that they have, Bob. This is the first time in this playoff series that they have faced elimination. The first time in the 77-78 series.
Okay, Bill, and there's Jerry Cheevers, the hot man. They say, Bill, he's the money man in any playoff.
He always is. He's always played well in playoffs.
We'll see as McCauley goes to center ice, and so does Bobby Clark for Philadelphia, and Peter McNabb for the Boston Bruins. Game 5 is underway, and it comes back to the line. Cleared in by Smith. DuPont for Philadelphia, back of the net. He was checked right away by McNabb. But here's Bobby Clark, the leader for Philadelphia, gets it up to Watson, and Clark is loose on the left, and Watson failed to set him up. Clark was moving into the crease. They bump heavily. There's a penalty coming up. Clark centers it, and the first penalty of the hockey game is coming up right here to the Boston Bruins. O'Reilly, I think, he gave Bobby Clark quite a joke.
Terry O'Reilly gets the first penalty of the hockey game at 25 seconds into the first period. Remember, these clubs had a fight after just 11 seconds the other night. Good scoring chance for the Flyers right off the bat. Watson teaming up with Clark.
And from the faceoff, Brad Park on the glass. It doesn't come out, though. Now, Milbury finds the opening and clears it down the ice. No score. They played just 40 seconds into the first period. Philadelphia with a man advantage. And now the Flyers coming out, led by Barber to Kindrachuk. Kindrachuk, McLeish, his shot is wide. And it's kept in by Leach, number 27. Milbury had him covered. No, they don't get a whistle. It comes loose. And McLeish dropped it behind the net to Kindrachuk. Kindrachuk was covered right away. And at the line, Barber stopped it. He kept it in. Here's Leach on a bad angle. Rolled it to the side of the net. And Leach couldn't reach it as Kindrachuk tried to set him up, and it's cleared away by Boston. 1 minute and 5 seconds left in O'Reilly's penalty. No score. Nearing the 2-minute mark of the first period, and here's Leach coming out to center. Leach winding up, doesn't shoot it, rolled it in, but offside was Daly on his right.
Well, you heard Howie Meeker talk about Brad Park before the game tonight. Certainly a key man for the Bruins, Bill Clement.
Well, he certainly is. He's the man that quarterbacks most of the things that come from the Boston zone. He kills penalties and is really the quarterback of their power play. So he is a key man for the Bruins. He has to play well.
Bridgman got the draw. 50 seconds left in the Boston penalty. Park doing good work. Nearly hit Kelly, though, at the blue line. LaPointe for Philadelphia. LaPointe pushed it in on the boards behind the net. Milbury racing after it, but Kelly is there first, and Kelly was bumped by Milbury. Kelly still has it, though, and he failed to hit Lonsberry with the pass. He was left uncovered for a second or two. Lonsberry ran into the boards as he tried to hit Brad Park. O'Reilly has 24 seconds left in his penalty as Bridgman rolled it to center to Lonsberry to Kelly. That didn't work. Kelly was in ahead of the play, and the Bruins cleared it anyway. So it goes right on with 12 seconds left in the penalty. Philadelphia have one more chance to move it down the ice, and here's LaPointe. At center, LaPointe shoots it in. Park has Bridgman covered. O'Reilly gets ready to step back on. The penalty is over. Jonathan couldn't get through the Philadelphia defense. And it's cleared by the Flyers down the ice. Going to the icing. There it is. And it's called back into the Philadelphia zone. But Rattel at the far side has been injured.
I didn't see that happen. Rattel is down in front of the Bruin bench. Rattel playing in his 100th playoff game, and that happened away from the play, Bill Clement. Did anybody see what happened?
I didn't see what happened, but Holmgren was the only Flyer in that area, and he was carrying the puck. There were a number of Bruins trying to check Holmgren, so perhaps he was hit with a high stick, even from one of his own players.
Well, Bill, he's going off. You're right. He has been cut over the right eye, I think.
I'll bet anybody right now that he'll be back here in about 15 minutes.
Can't keep a good man down. Frosty Forrestal, the trainer, with Frosty written across the back of his jacket. Helps Rattel off to the sidelines.
There's no score with 2 minutes and 35 seconds gone in the first period. The teams now are at full strength, and we're getting set for the face-off to the right of Bernie Perron. Clark comes from the Philadelphia bench. There he is, and he's ready. Game number 5. And Clark rushes after it, but it was cleared by Jimmy Watson into the corner. DuPont up on the boards to Barber. He was bumped by Schmatz. It comes to center. Doak shoots it in for Boston. Going in back of the net, Jimmy Watson. Watson cleared it up on the boards. They can't get it out, though. In front of the net it comes, and DuPont was covering up neatly. Up to center ice, and again Doak for Boston. A pass went too far for Schmatz, but here is Smith. He was stopped. Holmgren can't get to it. And it's over the boards at the far side, and play is called. 3 minutes and 9 seconds gone in the first period, and no score. Smith played it up from center ice. It's knocked back in by Philadelphia's Daly. And Doak goes back to the Boston net. Starting out, lost it in front. Quick shot! And Cheevers looked behind him. Man, was that close. What happened there, Bill? A little bit of loose play.
It was a little bit of loose play. Gary Dornhofer is getting an opportunity to play his first game against the Boston Bruins, and you can be sure that he is hungry. If the Flyers lose tonight, Gary Dornhofer said he will retire, and it could be his last game tonight in a Flyers uniform.
Good forechecking by the Flyers, and another good scoring opportunity. Cheevers has been so hot in this playoff series. Paul Holmgren, father of a new baby boy a couple of weeks ago, Jason Paul.
3.5 minutes gone in the first period. There is no score. Here's Daly shooting one. That went by Cheevers, but also by the net. Lonsberry was stopped from centering it by Park. Park still fighting for it against Lonsberry. It comes loose. Lonsberry kicked it free. McLeish took a shot, and it's gloved by Cheevers. Now Marcotte up to center ice. The Bruins coming in. And Cashman centered it. It went by everybody into the corner. Milbury back in the net for Cashman. And again, play call. We're getting another penalty. I think this time Dornhofer was into a bit of a fracas at the far side.
Well, Gary Dornhofer is a good elbower.
Your bathroom can be a disaster. Your fingers were never meant to be used like this. Just look at the mess. You need
Gary Dornhofer gets the first Philadelphia penalty for elbowing at 3:58. Dornhofer, number 12, gets the elbow up in the glass in the corner.
I only guessed at an elbow. That's one of Dorney's favorite maneuvers.
Well, Bill, he sure got it up that time, and he's off for that. A minor penalty to Dornhofer. The Bruins now with a man advantage. It comes in front, back to the line. Here's Park getting set. Park doesn't shoot it. Rolled it over to Shepard. Shepard back to Park on a skate. He gives it to Shepard again. Bad pass. And Barber backhands it down the ice for Philadelphia. The Bruins with McNabb at center ice. O'Reilly coming back. This is O'Reilly with McNabb. He dropped it for Park. He'll go back and wind up again. Now, Shepard's pass down to center ice. Middleton is stopped near center, and Philadelphia doing a good job while shorthanded. 1 minute and 23 seconds left in Dornhofer's penalty. No score in this first period. Nearing the 5-minute mark as Park picks his way to center ice. Park goes up over the line, got away from a check but lost control of it. Now O'Reilly brings it in. For Middleton it didn't work. And again, Barber finds the opening as the Flyers change on the go. McLeish and Kindredchuk are over the boards. And 1 minute left in the penalty now to Dornhofer. There is no score in this first period. And the Bruins on the power play, unable to get it going so far. Middleton looked for the pass, but it went to McNabb. McNabb in back of the net, but fired on the glass by DuPont. And Middleton centered it by everybody. O'Reilly ended up in the net behind Perron, and he was really going full steam. Here's O'Reilly. He's a rugged customer coming in with Brad Park. The Flyers are checking very closely now. And the Bruins unable to move it on this power play. O'Reilly ran into his man Watson. Middleton in the corner, looking around. Middleton still has it back to Park. Park gets set into O'Reilly. In front of McNabb. Oh, great save. Rebound. And it doesn't come anymore. That was a brilliant save by Bernie Perron, Bill.
Certainly was, Bob. Just some tremendous action. This is playoff hockey, and it's easy to tell we're coming down to the semifinals because action just keeps picking up every game.
On the replay now, Peter McNabb. It's amazing how many goals this fella scored during the regular season. 41 with Boston. Grew up in San Diego and really developed late in life in college as a hockey player. Big, tall forward with the Boston Bruins. Started out with the Buffalo Sabres, an exchange of free agents for Savard, who went to Buffalo.
12 seconds left in the Philadelphia penalty mark. Caught! Oh, and Perron got a stick on that one. And Daly was really wrapped up in the boards in his own end, and Daly is going off. He's been hurt. The Philadelphia penalty is over. Philadelphia with McLeish in the Boston zone, centering it. Henrichuk was covered. McLeish couldn't move it. The Bruins. Doak got it up to the line at center. Jonathan's pass into Markov. Back to Jonathan. He pulled it in front of the net. And Tom Blayden cleared it. Then it was stopped up the line by Smith. Jonathan keeping it in with Schmatz. He's dangerous. Shoots a hot one. And Perron stopped that one from Bobby Schmatz. Now Kelly ran into Marcotte. Here's Jonathan coming into the fray. They're all piling into the corner over there. No score in this first period. They played 6.5 minutes.
No sign yet of, well, Jean Rattel went off probably for stitches a while back. There's the shot of Daly at the Flyer bench.
Now the face-off to the right of Perron. And he appears to be out for one of his hot games. A play in front by Winsink. And Perron steered it back to the net. It's grabbed by Tom Blayden. Blayden's pass comes up to the line. And here's Bridgman to center. Going in with Leach. He took a shot. And that goes up into the crowd to the right of Cheevers.
You know, Bob, not only is Bob Daly injured as well as Jean Rattel, but Bobby Clark came off the ice right near the beginning of the game favoring, I believe it was his leg, and he is not on the Flyers bench at the moment. And without Bobby Clark, the Flyers will definitely have their hands full. They will anyway.
Familiar face in the crowd, Ed Snyder, Bill, chairman of the Philadelphia Flyer Hockey Club.
Brad Park played it up on the boards for Winsink. He couldn't move it out. Philadelphia with some pressure on. Kelly took a backhand shot. Didn't get much on it, though, and it was wide anyway. Now it comes back to Winsink near the line with Cashman. Here's Cashman coming in. He shoots it in off the boards. Blayden and Winsink. The Bruin ran into the Philadelphia goaltender, Bernie Perron, and shook him up a little bit. He's okay, though. Bridgman's long pass to Kelly, offside, just across center ice. That one was close.
It sure was. Bob Kelly is a real going concern every time he steps on the ice, and he breaks away and not only helps the team with his defensive efforts, but at times scores exciting goals. And he was in full flight that time, and if it hadn't been offside, there was a good chance he would have been in.
See Wayne Cashman going off for arrest. Met Bob Kelly's mother on a flight just the other day, Bill, and I said, was Bob always that way growing up? Did he always have that much energy? And she says, ever since he was a little boy. Growing concern.
Now from the draw with 7.5 minutes gone in the first period. There's no score in this game number 5. McLeish backhand pass to Lonsberry. Lonsberry bumped by O'Brien. McLeish took a shot, kicked back at him by Cheevers. O'Reilly number 24 to McNabb in the Boston zone. Out to center ice. Middleton can't reach it. And the Philadelphia Flyers, Jimmy Watson shoots it down. Stopped by Cheevers, so no icing. O'Brien, pass to the line. McNabb floats one back. It goes to Rick Smith. Smith, the pass ahead to Middleton. Just inside the line, and the Flyers come back out with it. Jim Watson across the line. Watson bumped on the boards by O'Brien, and O'Reilly was back, lost it in front of the net. That was close. And here's Watson near the blue line. Watson's backhand shot went off his skate and wide. The sticks are going high in front of the net. Lonsberry and O'Brien, they were fencing quite a while, and I think they'll both go off.
That looks like what John McCauley is signaling. Yeah, both off. A lot of adrenaline still flying around out there.
8 minutes, 11 seconds, first period. High sticking penalties go to O'Brien of the Bruins and Lonsberry of the Flyers. They're in the box, and the Count Daly is back on defense for the Flyers. Watch it now. right in front of the goal area. The sticks came up.
Okay, Brian, and now we're set to go to the right of Cheevers. Nearing the 9-minute mark of the first period, there's no score in the game. And the teams are 5 aside. A little more open space now. Clark, injured a little while ago, appears to be okay. He's back on with Barber. Brad Park bumping with Barber. Clark comes in to help. Clark has it. Nothing new there. Clark gets it back to the line. LaPointe gets set screen shot. That went off a leg and bounced wide. Clark again. He gave it to Barber to Daly. Daly took a shot and Cheevers came out to challenge him. He was out 15 feet on the shot. Back to the net into the corner for Park coming out. Here's Schmatz looking for the pass. And here it comes to Schmatz. Up over the line with Milbury. Stopped by Big Daly. And Park again comes back in, and they are offside at the Philadelphia line.
Well, I can't help but watching Bobby Clark out there, Bob. He's obviously favoring one of his legs, and he really doesn't look that healthy at this stage in the game. He's coming off the ice in a considerable amount of pain. That's really a shame, and it'd be a shame to see the Flyers lose just because they lost the services of Bobby Clark, because he's such an integral part of that team.
Oh, this is George.
I heard you talking about Bobby Clark limping off, and also Bob Daly has come back to the well, the area just beside the Flyer bench, and again they're examining that right knee. He had it looked at earlier, and there's a good close look from our camera location just a few feet away. Daly 1 goal, 6 assists in the playoffs. If they lose this fellow, or he can't navigate the way he can to maneuver, and the same with Clark, they're in real trouble here tonight.
Well, all of the bruises and the little hurts seem to turn into bigger ones because they've been playing for so long, and it's tough out there at this stage of the game.
Nearing the halfway mark of the period, Bladen had his pass deflected by Marcotte. Joe Watson has it up on the boards. Holmgren is stopped. He couldn't get very far. It's cleared across the line, and Rattel plays it back to Park. There are 2 smoothies for you. Rattel touched it out over the line, and the Bruins bring it in now. Milbury took a low shot. Perron stopped that. Milbury has it again. In for Rattel. Rattel going in. Oh! It went off Perron and Bladen and up over the goal. It looked like Rattel had himself a goal. Look at Holmgren move it. He comes across center. Holmgren going up over the line. Breaks in with a hard shot, and he lifted that one wide. DuPont gets set. He got away from Rattel. DuPont shoots one. Bad angle, and it was stopped by Cheevers. The penalized players are back on. The team's at full strength as DuPont breaks it up at center and shoots it back in. 10.5 minutes gone in the first period, and there's no score in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup semifinals here in Boston. And the Bruins leading in the series 3-1, going back to regroup, and Park in front of his own net for O'Reilly. A long pass to Cashman, coming in with Jonathan. A pass in front by Cashman doesn't work. Now it's Smith taking a shot. Cashman has it in the corner. He centered it. Here's O'Reilly, and he couldn't jam it by Perron. He didn't know where it was for a second. Then he realized it was beneath him.
Just a few moments ago, Bill, Jean Rattel returned to the action for the Bruins, and he came awfully close. You can see him at the bench there, still nursing that injury that suffered on the first shift. But look at this, number 10, watch him, Rattel, take this pass. He has a teammate with him. Tries to go around one defender and get it up, and he got it up all right, but somebody got a piece of it and up over the net.
Here's Smith's screen shot. Glanced away to the side of the net. Doak couldn't keep it in. The Bruins come back on side. Rick Smith played it ahead for Doak, who shoots it into the Philadelphia zone. And DuPont back to the goal on the boards for Kelly. Kelly was bumped hard by Holmgren. It's cleared out to center ice, though. And Doak has it. 11.5 minutes gone in the first period. No scores. Cashman played it in for Holmgren. Going in with O'Reilly. He backhands it into the corner. O'Reilly is after it on the other side. O'Reilly stopped by Kelly. They muscle each other, and it comes to the other corner again. Philadelphia, LaPointe, up to Lonsbury. He was stopped, but Jimmy Watson carries on with Kelly. Cashman after him. Kelly going for the net. A weak backhander was stopped easily by Cheevers. O'Reilly's pass is stopped by McLeish. He had a shot stopped. And now Jonathan, Cashman, and O'Reilly catching up. And it's O'Reilly with Jonathan. Cashman let it go back. Smith took a shot. That was deflected up high off the glass. No score in the first period. They played 12 minutes and 10 seconds as the Flyers come to center. Barber couldn't get his pass through. Now it comes to LaPointe, and Cheevers made a good save on LaPointe. And now ready for the face-off. No score in this first period. 6:29 remaining. They drop it in, and it goes to the corner. That's Smith playing it on the boards. LaPointe was jammed out of the play. Smith gets it up to center to McNabb. 2-on-1 coming in. A pass to Winsink. Oh! He missed the open side. Set up beautifully by Peter McNabb. Here's a drive by O'Reilly. Winsink again to McNabb. Right in. Oh, you the crossbar. They did everything but put the puck in the net behind Bernie Perrott. And you think that Winsink got an open goal. McNabb waited and then hit the bar.
Two great chances for the Boston Bruins. First, Winsink missing the net after he was set up beautifully. Great pass from McNabb, just wide of the post, and then they came right back, and McNabb from short range couldn't get it up over the pads of Bernie Perrott, Bill.
Well, Peter McNabb, you mentioned earlier that he can score goals. Notice how he moves back because he realizes that Perrott is lying flat on the ice, and you just can't jam it through pads. He made the right play, but Bernie also made a heck of an effort.
What action around the Philadelphia net, but there is still no score in this hockey game. 6 minutes remaining in the first period. DuPont slaps at it. O'Reilly couldn't stop it, and Doak in the center ice area. Doak for Smith. Up on the wing for Winsink. He couldn't control it. It'll be a while before he forgets the opportunity he had seconds ago. And the face-off is to the right of Perrott. You see them lining up there in that big circle. No score. 4:30 remaining in the period. Smith let it go. And Schmatz was right in front of Perrott, but covered by Joe Watson. Doak shoots it back in. It went by Watson. Perrott stopped it for Bladen. Bladen couldn't move it out. Schmatz in forechecking with Rattel. It comes back to the line. And Philadelphia starting out. This is Lonsberry on the wing. And it went by Leach. Then off the skate and down the ice. Bladen coming back for Philadelphia. Look out. It is bumped by Schmatz. Schmatz got it back to Smith. The screen shot. That was wide. Brad Park has it on his backhand and can't shoot it. Schmatz was bumped by Joe Watson. Now back to Schmatz again, and he's checked off the puck right away. Still trying to gain control of it. A foul in the corner. It comes back to Park. Here's a chance, and he waited too long. And Leach had a break, but fell down before he could get control of it. Park in his own zone with Smith up to center ice. Jonathan played it in, and of course, Perrott steady enough. Cleared it out to the line. Here's Bobby Clark, who's on again for Philadelphia, giving it another goal. But mind you, we understand Clark has been injured in this period, but he's still out there. Now the Bruins, O'Reilly bumped. McNabb, he fell down. They're roughing it up again. Clark ran into O'Reilly. Here's McNabb from the corner. Centered it, scrambled. O'Reilly knocked down another shot, scores. Milbury got the shot away up high, and it's 1-0 Boston, and this place is going crazy.
Mike Milbury racing in, elected to gamble on getting that puck, came in and got it well and put it up over Bernie Perrott. The Bruins go in front 1-0 with 2:56 left. Here it is, Bill.
Fine play by Peter McNabb. Dumps it out in front where there's a little bit of Bruin traffic. There's a slight pileup, and look where Mike Milbury shoots that puck. Do you think Bernie Perrott had a chance at all? Right in the upper corner. He snapped it.
Well, he picked a spot because he had so many bodies in front of him. He had to be careful. They were right in front of him as we see McNabb set it up.
Look who's there, Terry O'Reilly. Just a tremendous asset to this Bruin team.
Milbury with a beautiful shot up high. Here's Cashman coming in now. Cashman shoots, and Perrott dropped that one beautifully. But it's 1-0 Boston on that goal by Milbury.
Mike Milbury has a lot of friends in this area. Grew up born in Brighton, grew up in Walpole, Mass. Graduate of Colgate University. I can't think of any other player from Colgate ever to make the NHL. Cherry said last year he thinks he's one of the 10 best defensemen in the NHL.
1-0. The Boston Bruins on Milbury's goal. Perron touched it into the corner for LaPointe. LaPointe on the boards, can't get by Schmatz. Coming in front is Jonathan and Rattel. And Rattel's shot was just wide. Milbury again, and this time he was wide with it. Park kept it in. Bruins with some more pressure on Philadelphia now. Park trying to keep it in with less than a minute remaining in the period, and they get a face-off just inside the line.
Bruins taking it to the Flyers. Now, while we have a break, let's take another look at that goal by Mike Milbury, Bill Clement. Set up by Peter McNabb, who tried to dump it right in front. I think it hit a stick, went to O'Reilly, and then out to Milbury.
Bernie didn't have a chance.
And that is why it's 1-0. Bernie didn't have a chance, at least on that one. Here's a play down to Bridgman. Bridgman into the corner. Hooked it over in front. McLeish didn't see that quick pass. Actually, it came off Cheevers. And now, the Flyers. McLeish going after it. Milbury is back, though. He's the Boston scorer in this first period.
Bridgman in Philadelphia that night got the worst of it. He said not only is he a terrific battler, but he's a tremendous hockey player. Really come along well since his rookie year. And again, we look at Bobby Clark at the Flyer bench. Won't fill the swimming pool till the playoffs are over.
I still think it was a bad trade for Bridgman.
Here's LaPointe. 12 seconds remaining. Marcotte up to the line. And Philadelphia in control. It's hammered off the glass by McLeish. 2 seconds left in the period. The Bruins controlling at their own blue line. A good first period of hockey. Turned into a little roughhouse tactics toward the end. But they'll settle down, no doubt. With the Bruins getting the only scoring play. Milbury got the goal, and so the score at the end of the first period is Boston 1, Philadelphia 0. John McCauley, the referee in tonight's game, he's looking over to the Philadelphia bench, and they're just getting a line. They have McLeish at center, Lonsberry, and Dornhofer. Correction, they're at full strength. They were coincident major penalties toward the end of the first period. So they're at full strength now. Bladen stopped at his own blue line. McLeish, number 19, has it. Playing it out over the line. Dornhofer was stopped by Rick Smith. McNabb shooting it in. And Perron clearing it for Jim Watson. Watson played it ahead to Dornhofer. McNabb took him out of the play, and Smith has it for Boston for Middleton. Middleton winding up at his own blue line. Here's Middleton with Rick Smith. He was stopped by Dornhofer. They rough it up right in front of us at the Boston blue line. Jimmy Watson, number 20, for Dornhofer. Smith went after him, and they both go down this time. Middleton carries on. Middleton slides it in front, and McLeish got checked before he could move it. Dornhofer, a high pass. Now Dornhofer again, but offside. O'Reilly went after Dornhofer on the play. Bill Clement, you told me that these Boston Bruins hit more than any team in the National Hockey League, and we're seeing some of it now.
I think consistently, Bob, game in and game out, that the Boston Bruins are, it's pretty well conceded by most of the players that they hit and take the body more regularly than any other team in hockey. But one player that takes the body all the time was that man, Gary Dornhofer. Here he is. He's always ready to rough it up. And I made reference to his elbows earlier in the game. For every one elbow that he throws out, he gives a dozen clean body checks and is one of the greatest competitors I have ever had the opportunity to play with.
Brad Park for Milbury. Up to center ice. Winsink couldn't get it. Now, Milbury goes back in his own zone. He scored the Boston goal in the first period as Rattel comes to center ice. Rattel and Winsink on his left. Winsink going in. Couldn't make a play against Big Daly. And Daly takes over for... He lost it. Schmutz! A hard shot. Picked out by Perron. Daly coughed it up to Schmutz. Kelly bounced one in on Cheevers. And Cheevers had some difficulty controlling it with a stick. Rattel is bumped hard by Barber. Now Winsink overskating it at his own blue line. Cheevers again back of the net. Barber got a piece of him as he skated for the puck. And here's Rattel again. Up with Schmutz on his right. Schmutz got the pass, but Winsink on the left wing was offside. Dave Hoyda is number 8. He's out of the left wing for Philadelphia now. Boston Boston fans hollering for a penalty. Here's Hoyda after it. Hoyda bumped by Doak, fell down, couldn't get a pass back in front. Here's Kindrachuk around the net. Kindrachuk couldn't center it by Smith, and Smith bowled him over. The puck comes to center ice. We're getting penalties now. Kindrachuk and Smith want to go at it. Smith backs off a little bit. And the linesman Neil Armstrong and Claude Béchard are in there very quickly, but Macaulay will be assessing penalties.
Kindrachuk, Bill Clement, isn't really much of a scrapper, is there? And I'm not sure that Smith is either.
Well, when Norris Kindrachuk first came into the league, he had his share of fights. He's a small man and had to establish himself, and he did very well. He is a good scrapper.
And the score is the Boston Bruins 1 and the Philadelphia Flyers no score. Now they're 5-a-side as they line up near the center ice red line. Shepard getting the draw back to Milbury. Milbury stopped by Barber, but here's Mark Cox shooting it in. Back of the net, Perron stopped it for Jim Watson. Watson as the Flyers lined up to his left and right. And it's Tom Bladen having difficulty against the forechecking Bruins. So Watson goes into the corner. He nearly fell. Bladen rushed it over on the boards, and Kelly ran into Milbury. The Philadelphia Flyers having difficulty moving it out. Brad Clark shoveled it ahead, but Kelly will clear it. Here they come. Kelly's pass to Barber. Barber going right in on goal. He scores! Barber made it look very, very easy, but he fooled Cheevers, Bill Clement, with that shot.
Believe me, it wasn't easy. He had, I believe it was Mike Milbury. He had Mike Milbury hanging all over him, and just to be strong enough to get the shot away and put the shot where he did. Here we see it. Milbury moves over, and at this point has the stick on Barber's arm, right up over Cheever's shoulder, right in the same spot Milbury scored.
Well, Bill Milbury, who was a very articulate guest of Dave Hodge, was the victim of this shot by Barber. He got the stick up around Barber's shoulder, but not enough to prevent that shot from being released by Barber. Good shot, upper corner, a 1-1 tie now here in the second period.
Okay, and now the Bruins Middleton coming right back. But Philadelphia this time getting back to cover up. A long rink-wide pass to McLeish at center ice. McLeish against Brad Park. And Park in his own zone being watched by Leach. LaPointe inside the line decides to wait for it, and Milbury takes advantage. Moves down with Rattel, but the Flyers get a break. Here's Leach coming in on Brad Park. Leach dropping it for McLeish. He shoots, and he put it right on with Cheevers covering on the short side. Now it's really opened up. Here's Park coming back with Rattel and Milbury. Milbury dropped it back, and the Flyers falling was Leach. 2:56 the time in the Philadelphia goal. Here's Leach, he's onside. Oh, Cheevers came out and knocked it away from Leach, and he had a great opportunity. Rattel is upended, and there's going to be a Philadelphia tripping penalty coming up now. McLeish had a great opportunity, and now he's going off for tripping. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Boston Garden.
Leach has been in Fred Sherrill's doghouse a time. In fact, he must have thought he was a candidate for the American Kennel Club at one time, Bill, but he had a good second half.
Here's Shepard for Boston shooting it in. The score is tied 1-1. Nearing the 5-minute mark of the second period. Good hockey game, this number 5 of the Stanley Cup semifinals. O'Reilly coming in looking forward with McNabb, who fell down, and they get a whistle. 2 players on the ice. There's O'Reilly, rugged individual, number 24. He's tough, Bill.
Very tough. And this year, guess what? He turned into a point getter. A lot of points for a man who has worked at it and deserves everything that he gets. He stays out after practice and works, and when he accomplishes something, it's a good example for everyone.
There's the big clock at center ice, showing statistics, time remaining in the penalties. The score is tied. It's 1-1. 15:44 remaining in the second period, and a face-off to the right of Bernie Perron. And now it's Shepard getting set from the blue line. Shepard takes a look, gives it to McNabb. McNabb all the way back to Park. He let it go. Score! A great shot by Brad Park, and he can really unload the puck from the blue line when he gets a chance to wind up like that. 2-1 Boston.
You know what I like about him, Bill, he doesn't take a real long windup. He just snaps that shot away. A little bit of a sort of a half slap shot. Let's watch.
He gets it away quickly.
Oh, he
You're
did.
right. He had to stop it with his skate even before he shot it.
Well, Park can do it every way, but he does it so quickly. You know, it's just a blur, that stick. I didn't believe it went back that far. And he unleashed that puck so quickly it was in the net. What a shooter.
Brad Park. And has he taken hold of this Boston team? 2-1 Boston. Here's Rick Smith shooting one in for O'Reilly. O'Reilly couldn't get the pass. It's cleared down the ice. And Cheevers stopped it. Now Hoyda failed to quick it in. Down the ice it goes again. Icing this time was Bladen back to pick it up.
There's Don Cherry's record in Stanley Cup play. Brad Park has just scored his 5th playoff goal from McNabb and Shepard. And Bruins have now scored 8 power play goals in the playoffs. 4:29, the time of the goal.
Now O'Reilly shooting it from his own zone, not out. Long shot, tipped away by Cheevers. A big save off LaPointe, that was. Here's O'Reilly coming in. O'Reilly played it in back of the net. Hoyda couldn't catch up to it, and he ran into Doak. Look out, did they hit each other? Hoyda and Doak. I think Doak has been shaken up, and he's going up. They're really roughing it up now. Look at him go. Up to center ice. Hinrichuk stops, and that put his winger offside. Holmgren ahead of the play.
I'd sure like to see a replay of Gary Doak's collision with Dave Hoyda.
I tell you, he hurt him. There he goes. Doak.
Well, that collision was really something. Here it is again, Bill. You ask for it, you get it. And that'll have them on their feet in the Dallas Hotel in Barhead, Alberta tonight, Dave Hoyda's hometown.
That rattles every bone in your body. All I could see from here was Hoyda receiving an elbow in the chops from Mr. Doak, but it looks like Gary Doak is shaken up as well.
I'll tell you, folks, we don't play the game, Brian and I. At least I don't. Brian still calls himself an old-time
Well, that hurt me from here.
hockey player, but I can look at Bill Clement, and when he saw that check, he was wincing up here in the broadcast booth. You could hear them hit.
It hurt me from here.
Okay, now it's Daly. And he was bumped by Rattel of all people. They're all throwing their weight around now. Rattel a little out of character going after Daly with a check behind the net. Nearing the 6-minute mark of the second period, and the Bruins lead it 2-1. Schmott's keeping it in, a puck by Rattel. Daly on the boards. For Leach, Rattel stopped it in with Middleton. Rattel! And he was stopped by Bernie Perron. Rattel using the decoy, and Perron coming up big.
John Rattel celebrating his 100th playoff game. He's had 3 really fine scoring chances already in the hockey game.
I don't know if he'll ever get old. Game in and game out, he comes to play and really doesn't hit that many people, as you mentioned earlier, and really does actually get hit very often out there. Guys seem to take runs at Jean Rattel because he doesn't retaliate that much, but talk about a durable performer over the years.
And a classy performer, Bill. You look at him skating off. Doesn't he remind you a bit of Jean Beliveau in his great years with the Montreal Canadiens? And certainly they don't come any finer in the world than Jean Beliveau.
Boston 2, Philadelphia 1. Nearing the 7-minute mark of the second period. And here's Barber coming to center. Kelly going in after this one. Oh! And Cheevers made a big save on Kelly, who didn't quite get a lot on it, but he was going for the far corner. Shepard cheats it from center ice. And Joe Watson, being watched by Marcotte and Cashman. It's kept in by O'Brien. Marcotte lost a chance to move it. Bobby Clark is on again. He hasn't seen too much action in this hockey game. He was hurt in the first period. Now Clark is bumped by Cashman. Kelly shoots one from center ice and was checked by Shepard as he did. There's Cheevers stick handling. Look out, Cheevers! He nearly lost it. Here's Watson's shot. And it's Kelly back of the net. Tried to jam it in. Oh, and he missed the far post. Cheevers took a big chance stick handling in front of his own net when Kelly was cruising close. This crowd really buzzing now at the action. Here's Shepard coming in for Boston, and his shot is deflected away up high at the far.
made a coaching change in one of his forward lines that I'm sure is designed to relieve Bobby Clark of some of his skating responsibilities. He has him playing the left side, and he's letting Bill Barber play center, and that will relieve Clark of some of his skating on that bad leg that he has.
So from the face-off, Philadelphia coming out. Holmgren bumped as he shoots it in. Milbury stopped him from moving up on it. Now it's Bridgman in the corner. Kindrechuk hooked it in front. It was blocked in front of the net by the Boston defense. Winsink missed the pass at his own line. Holmgren again with Kindrechuk, and he put it right on Winsink's stick. He shoots it on the boards, not out. It's kept in and cleared just wide of the Boston net. Here's Bridgman getting it in front of Holmgren, and he was stopped by Park in front of the goal. Winsink coming down with O'Reilly. O'Reilly fading to the right side, and then he goes into the boards, back of the net with Jimmy Watson, and there's no further play. Now right in front of the goal for Rick Smith. Smith on the boards, down to center ice. It's stopped by LaPointe. And finally, Boston carrying it back down to the Philadelphia zone, and Lonsberry from the corner looks for room and doesn't find it. Doak ran into him with a solid check. And another by Doak. So he was hurt a little while ago, at least shaken up. He seems to be okay again. Schmatz is bumped by McLeish. Schmatz then bumped by Bladen. Here's Rattel back of the net. He comes out front with it. Rattel centered it to Holmgren. And here's another chance, another to Jonathan. And Jonathan, right in front of the net, was jammed out of it by LaPointe. And LaPointe, Bill, is having a great second period for Philadelphia.
He's had a great playoffs.
There's another person who was in Fred Shero's doghouse for a lot of the season, and given a chance to play, he's really shown his stuff. And who's twisting him around there? None other than the man we were speaking of earlier, Jean Rattel. Always threatening.
Bill, we saw LaPointe in Game 3 at Philadelphia, and I thought he was just outstanding. And talking to some of the Flyers, they say he's never looked better for us. Came over from Detroit in a trade. Jean Rattel, 71 points in 96 career playoff games.
9 minutes and 10 seconds gone in the second period. Boston 2, Philadelphia 1. That shot by Middleton off the leg and went wide. And it's Barber coming out. His pass didn't work at center ice for Joe Watson. Milbury, rink wide pass to Cashman. Cashman going in, shoots. That stopped the rebound of Middleton. And he couldn't control it. It went bouncing by him. Cashman went after it. Kelly took him in on the boards. Puck comes loose though to Bobby Clark. A neat pass up the center ice. And it's Watson coming in. Jimmy Watson dropping it back to Joe Watson. His shot is stopped. And Middleton with Brad Park ahead to Shepard. That's stopped by Joe Watson for Kelly. Couldn't reach it. Cleared by Milbury up to center. Philadelphia offside. Kelly was trapped inside the line a good 15 feet.
There's a good look at Rattel on the bench. You remember he was injured on the very first shift when he bumped into Paul Holmgren, and that right eye, I believe, is almost closed tight. Look this way, John.
Well, he's so good he could probably play with one eye. It probably would distort some of his depth perception, but such a fantastic talent. Well, they have him keeping ice on it over there. It'll probably stay the way it is for the rest of the game.
Well, they had to give up something good in New York to get Esposito, and they gave up Rattel, and it's just like your deal, Bridgman for Clement. You outscored him 20-16.
What's happened since then? Let's not talk about it.
From center, LaPointe shoots it in on the boards for Philadelphia. Holmgren tried to go around Rick Smith. Smith went after Holmgren again, and it's jammed back of the net. Holmgren got it loose, though. Smith whipped it on the glass. It comes out over the line, and LaPointe back in his own zone. 9:40 remaining in the second period. Boston 2, Philadelphia 1. Boston looking to wind up the series as McNabb goes in with O'Reilly, shoots it right out. The rebound. O'Reilly ended up in the net. And Perrant made the big save on Peter McNabb, who had a good shot on the short side. This Stanley Cup. Well, they have 9:19 remaining in the second period. Boston 2, Philadelphia 1. And now, Philadelphia can't move it out. McNabb tried to set up Marcotte. Joe Watson has it. Feeds it over for Holmgren. He's stopped by Marcotte. Bladen away from Riley with it. On the boards, it's Bladen again. O'Reilly ran into Holmgren. Kindrachuk's pass up to Joe Watson. To center ice. Bridgman played it over the line to Holmgren. He was stopped. Philadelphia keeping it in, though. Bladen looking for it. Bladen knocked into the boards by O'Reilly, and they get a whistle. 4 players.